Hey everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres, and I'm back in the greenhouse again. Henry helped me move some things around here earlier. We got the big pot of bush beans down there because that's just being allowed to go right now because we're trying to see if we can get some seeds off of it. Those are an open pollinated heirloom variety of seeds called Provider, and we want to see if we can get any decent seeds out of it. So that's out of the way. I've been able to clean up things. I've been able to move things around again. And now it's time to pot a few things up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this whole little tray here into lettuce. I figure 6 pieces of lettuce in here will be just about right. They'll be tight, but that'll give me easy access to them. I'll probably actually do 5 because we've still got one of these guys here. That's a husk cherry. I'm debating what to do with him. We'll see how he does in the next week or so. His fruit has not been particularly sweet lately. He may have been a little neglected because I pulled the peppers out of here and he got a little disturbed and stuff like that. But I'm going to see how he does. If he does well, awesome. If he doesn't, he's toast. So I have here 3 Salanova green butter lettuce plants, and I'm going to put them right here. Now this one is all in a spot by itself, so that's easy. Push the bottom up, and there he is. Salanova is cool. It's a Johnny's Select Seed exclusive. It has been designed basically for commercial growers. But when I say designed for commercial growers, I don't mean that in any kind of a negative way. It is amazing. It has staying power in the field, so you don't have to harvest. Like a lot of lettuces will have like a day or 2 leeway in terms of, I feel like there's a rock in here. I always love it when I pay for rocks, don't you? Yeah. That came in the potting soil. Anyway, Salanova it has good staying power in the field, and it is just pretty darn amazing, and that's the least I can say for it. We've had it in here before. I think this is our, this is our 3rd or 4th year growing it, and definitely we've grown it in the greenhouse twice before. And we found, as with all greens in our area, they do better in a greenhouse than they do in the garden, because there's just so many rodents that say, oh, that's delicious, let's eat it. But we harvest these not as head lettuce, but as individual leaves. So as these grow up, I'm literally just going to pick individual leaves off these guys. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now this is Salanova Sweet Green Crisp. And this one particular cell has 2 plants in it. These were older seeds, so I planted more. And yeah, it kind of works, but it means that sometimes I got double plants in a little cell, and that's okay, because I'll simply divide them up. And there we go. This is now going to be our lettuce garden. I'm going to, this is an easy one for me to spot because of the crinkly leaves. I'm going to put this guy back in his spot. I don't want to overplant this because I know how big they're going to get. Each one of these plants is going to get big like that. And as I harvest them up, there'll be a stalk with leaves on top, kind of like, sort of the way Brussels sprouts look, where you have leaves on the top and nothing at the bottom. But I know that if I overplant them now, I'm going to really regret it, because then I'll tend to get rot at the bottom, and I do not want that. So I'm going to stick these back in the seedling tray. Now, what else am I going to do? I have this pot here, which used to be tarragon and basil. And both of those plants were pretty, actually there's 3 tarragon plants and 1 basil plant. And I decided that just the quality was not there anymore. And I see no reason to keep something just because it smells good when you bump into it. I mean, I would do that in a yard. I used to have, trying to think what they call it now. Rose geranium. I used to have rose geranium in the yard when I lived in California. And it was amazing. It would spread like crazy. And anytime you brushed against it, it just put out this wonderful rose smell. And it was, you know, it was a yard. I had plenty of room. I was not trying to grow anything in that section of the yard. It was just literally, that was the kind of fun part of the yard, that was just to smell good. And that was a cool thing. And so I wouldn't say I would never ever grow something just for the smell, because I kind of did grow it just for, mostly for the smell there. But I also had plenty of garden space, and water was not a problem because I was on city water, and yeah, all those things. So in pots, I have to be a lot pickier, and I have to sit there and say, okay, while I love the smell of this, it's really, it's not earning its keep. How's that? So what I did do earlier this morning was, I had 1 basil seedling left, and I potted him up into a pot. So we'll see how he does. He, she, it does. And that will be, the fate of that one will be decided by how it behaves. Now, this top of this whole pot is just matted, is the word that comes to mind. The leaves are so thick. And what I need to do is just get these out of here. Now, I did water this yesterday, but I guess I didn't water it enough. My goal was to get it so that I could yank this out of here. That's not working. I apparently forgot to eat my Wheaties this morning. I had blueberry pancakes instead. And apparently blueberry pancakes are not sufficient for ripping out very rooty things. Let's see here. I'm going to get my hand in there. And what I'll do in a situation like this is I will break up the roots as much as I can. And this bucket over here is actually what I would call a root drying bucket. In other words, I have plants that I've dragged out of other pots that have been relegated to the trash, but I don't want to throw away all the dirt on the bottoms of them yet. So I'm letting the roots dry out there, and then I will knock off the dirt when they're a little drier. Now, that may seem a little excessive, but dirt is not quite as precious as water around here, but it's pretty precious, so I try and salvage what I can. Sometimes that means I work a lot harder than I need to. In this case, I'm just trying to get this darn thing out of here. Wow. Where did I, when I was taking out the, there was something else I was taking out that was like this. Oh, when I was taking out some of the Thai basil, oh my Lord, that entire pot was just solid roots. Solid roots. It was amazing how aggressive that plant had been in terms of root production. I mean, they were really healthy, but oof, trying to get them out of there was a challenge and a half. You know, I don't consider myself to be a wussy, but this thing is kicking my tail. This would have been easier to dump outside, I'm sure. There we go. Whew. One more to go. The funny thing about doing this kind of a big stir up is that every once in a while when you do something like this, you'll stir up something else. My pot over there that has calendula in it was one of these pots like this that had been reused a couple of times. And I stirred up the top real well, and I dumped in some random soil that I had from other pots, and I wound up with 4 carrots, a calendula, a husk cherry, and then there were the plants in it that were supposed to be there, which was 2 cantaloupes. It was really kind of funny. It just goes to show you those seeds will stay dormant, and if something has caused them not to germinate correctly, the minute they get a chance to, they're on it. All right. Whew. I'm going to take all of this out of there because it could rot somewhere else, but I don't want it to be using up nitrogen in here. There we go. Whew. Man, that was quite the process. I did not think it was going to be that bad. I made sure I watered it yesterday because it was pretty dry, and I was like, oh, this is going to be hard to chunk out of there. Little did I know how hard it was going to be to chunk out of there. Then, as always, I will top this with some potting soil. And as always, I get nothing from Miracle-Gro. It just happens to be a convenient potting soil that we can usually get. Not always, but usually. Whew. Let me see if I have any fertilizer in here. One of the things I like to do when I refurbish a pot like this is add new potting soil to replace any organics that have been burned away by the temperatures. Get the sweat out of my eyes. And this is still a little low, so I should probably add more of a new bag. Then I'm going to add a little bit of this House Tools 5-4-3 organic fertilizer. You can add any kind of organic fertilizer you want. I recommend organic fertilizers because they are slow release usually, and in this case the plant's not going to need anything when it first gets in there. But I'm just going to scuff this into the top a little bit, and then I'm going to plant it to it just like always. This was used for herbs, so I don't have to worry about anything I plant in it. And I'm going to put in 4 pieces of lettuce. First thing I'm going to put in is the remaining 2 Salanova sweet green crisps. And there's 2 in here. And there it is. I knew I had one of these. Yeah. I'm just going to literally plant them at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. You know, nothing elaborate, but it gives me the biggest spacing that I can have for the size of the pot. I'm pushing down the soil around it a bit because one of the things we've figured out with this soil, the potting soil like this, is it tends to be way fluffier than regular soil of the garden. Take a look at this one. This is moderately toasted. I've used this several times, but I'm going to toss it over here for now. I have some red oak leaf I'm going to put in here too. Now I am expecting a new collection of pots to come in on Tuesday. And when that happens, I will probably wind up potting up the rest of my lettuce. Because I could put these into solo cups and then pot them up from there, but I know that if I can do it straight into these containers, in the long run, I'll get better growth, less stunting, etc., etc., etc. It'll be a lot less shock for the poor plants. You see what a lovely color that red oak leaf is? Green butter is a smooth leaf like this, only in a bright green. Then you've got this crisp, which is got this crinkly edge to it, and it'll get crinklier as it gets older. And then it's got this red oak leaf. Makes a really beautiful salad. It's really nice in the middle of the winter when they're having all these lettuce recalls and things like that, to not have to worry about it. We always joke, as I serve up a salad, I'll say, you know, we haven't had a recall all winter. So the lettuce garden has begun. This is very exciting. And I will be continuing this later this week. As I say, Tuesday, I should have a delivery of a very large quantity of these exact pots. And we have 10 bags of potting soil. And I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lettuce plants there, and probably another 8 up there. Plus I have more cabbage that needs to go in. So once I have this place buried in in buckets, I will be then thinking about what I'm going to plant next. I need to plant a bucket of carrots, because I have a bucket of carrots over there, another bucket of pak choy, probably some more tiara cabbage. I've got lots and lots of Copenhagen, that's this guy here. Rutabaga seedlings up there, those will be going into buckets also. And we'll see if these guys bulb up, then I'll try some purple ones too. But if they don't bulb up, I'm just going to stick with the pale green ones and say bye and thanks to all the fish for the other ones. I just look at these little sad purple guys and I'm like, and your next door neighbor who is more crowded than you are is fat and happy. So I have to believe that they're just more susceptible to crowding than the other guys are. And if I had 30 acres planted with, you know, rain and all that kind of stuff, I might not care, but here I care. So yeah, just one of those adjust to your own life circumstances things. And I keep watching for worms. I haven't found any more on here this morning, but the holes in the leaves always bug me. Hope you find this interesting. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because obviously we're going to be doing tons more. It's really time to do some cooking. We're thinking about putting together a cookbook. To be honest, it's easier to work out of a cookbook than it is to try and go to people's websites to find recipes. It kind of gets to be kind of a pain in the patootie. And we have another cookbook that we've written previously that's on a Tudor feast. That has been very well received, but it's out of stock right now, so that needs to be fixed. So, until next time, bye. Easy to get down, not so easy to get up. Excuse me, didn't mean to sneeze on you.